So I see it from both sides. Let's be real, we're not going to get Potter. He probably will be another Championship manager. To be
Who is out there who wants to be a part of this awful situation?
We're very, very pleased to have him join us to give his thoughts on the current predicament and, of course, the future of this man here. So, without further ado, Rob, welcome to the show. How are you? Thank you so much for getting us in. I appreciate tonight's been a bit hectic for you, and please, no need to apologise at all. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
No problem, mate.
It's a bit bleak at the moment, Rob, isn't it? Realistically, how do you see the next few weeks going in terms of what's going to happen? I mean, we're looking at the weekend's game up against Postecoglou side who are struggling a little bit. Even if we get a good result, how do you see this panning out?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard. I mean, I can't believe we're in this situation again. It feels like if you were to pick me up and drop me back in 2022, I wouldn't know if anything's changed, right? We've got a manager who's struggling at this level coming up from the Championship, who's failing really to kind of put his philosophy into practice in the Premier League. I think that Christmas is the worst time to sack a manager because they haven't got much time on the training pitch. But
a lot of games. A lot of
games. I don't know. I mean, the next couple of weeks is going to be really tough because I've been talking to people and I definitely see it from both sides in terms of I love you too, Ben. In terms of keeping him and getting rid of him, right? There's two different ways to look at it. You can look at it from the perspective that the football's disgusting, it's horrible, he needs to go now, which I do think, as I said after the Villa game, that was kind of a breaking point for me. I do think that this football just isn't working in the Premier League. We need to cut our losses and get a new manager in. The other side of it is, okay, well, it's going to cost us probably 10 to 12 million to sack Russell Martin. It's going to cost us maybe another 5 million, let's say, to hire a new manager. Just spilling some numbers out. That's the average cost of hiring a new manager from a different club. It obviously depends on the release clauses. We're already in a tight financial situation with PSR. I think that's why the club have been pushing to get a revenue in commercially. So, for example, the pub opening up on Sunday. You also have like the fan zones they've been building. They've been building all of that to get more commercial revenue into the club so that we're a bit easier on the PSR. That's what I would say anyway. You see it with all the other clubs in the Premier League and Championship. So I see it from both sides, and it's really hard because I'm very down the middle because it's definitely not 3 million. It's definitely not. I think after he signed his he's not on £1 million a year. Let's just say that, and he signed a 3-year contract. So I reckon it will at least be 10 million. So yeah, I see it from both sides. It's really tough. I think a heavy defeat to a struggling Tottenham side would probably be enough, but I don't want the club to sack Martin if they don't have someone readily available to come in.
Agreed.
Because one thing which Martin does have, which I'm quite surprised about, is the backing of the squad. And that says a lot. I mean, you can't just say on Twitter, you can't just go on Twitter and say, sack him, get Lallana in as a bloody player manager, because that's just ridiculous. Like, that is just...
But you never know. That sounds like a great escape to me.
It's great, yeah, great escape. Great escape from a relegation battle in the Championship, maybe. But it's just tough because I think he should go, but only when a manager becomes readily available. Let's be real, we're not going to get Potter. We're not going to get a big name. It probably will be another Championship manager, to be honest with you. It could be Carlos Corberán for West Brom. Managers like that. So I don't know what, Jack. I know you're very vocal about Russell Martin out right now, which is completely fair enough and fine.
Oh, I hate it.
I'm struggling to keep him on track.
I understand that it is a rock and a hard place because getting rid of him is going to be so difficult. And who is out there who wants to be a part of this awful situation? But the same part of me that thinks 4-0 every week is the same part of me that thinks, why won't one of those guys come in and just step in and that bounce happen? Look at Leicester. They got the Tinkerman and then they won the league. Why can't that happen?
Yeah, true. I mean, Ranieri's very proven. I think they were lucky to get Ranieri.
Exactly. And it's stuff like that, man. Like you're right. The reality of it is we're probably going to get Corberán. And I remember last season seeing him at the touchline going, I hate this guy. He sucks. Like every second I saw him, I was like, I would hate that. and I would hate the fact that he would come and I'd probably love it. That would be the other thing.
I actually think Corberan, if we were to go back to the Championship and shop in the Championship, I do actually think he'd probably be the best option because he was working on pennies at West Brom.
Yeah,
absolute pennies, and he got he got them into the playoffs. And then you can kind of say the same about Martin. He got him I think it was 6 points off playoffs the season before we got him when he finished 10th. But it's just really difficult because I don't think Sport Republic can afford. Yeah, I don't think Sport Republic can actually afford, in terms of the fan base, to go shopping again in the Championship. I just don't think they can because I think people's patience. I think people were willing to give Sport Republic time after the promotion. I mean, that day at Wembley was huge. If we weren't to go up financially, we would have been ruined. Absolutely, completely decimated. We were ruined. And I think if we were to go shopping in the Championship and get this one wrong again in the Premier League, then I think fans will just lose them. And I think when you want to build a long-term project like they want to do, and you want to involve lots of different clubs, and obviously a multi-club model takes time to build, right? And they want the support from the fans, because if they lose the support, the fans are going to lose the club. They are. The atmosphere around the club will be horrible. And as I said, they need all this commercial revenue. They obviously do, with the amount that they're pushing it. So if they were to get it wrong again, and if we were to go down again, and then fail to get promoted, which we shouldn't do with the squad that we have, because no one should want to buy these guys, then I don't know. I think Sport Republic would have to put us up on sale. But I think this is a key pivotal moment to see where Sport Republic lies. Are they, into saving money and not sacking him and kind of allowing this to continue, or actually with PSR, are they just going to save him for next season? In March, Russell Martin could be the most hated man at Southampton. Or he probably already is, but he could be worse, because we probably wouldn't have won by then. So it's really hard, mate. It's really hard. I mean, that's my overall thoughts. I just think it's I would hate to be a decision maker at Sport Republic right now.
Well, you bring up the point of the fact that he's got the players on side, and I totally agree with that. I haven't seen any, aside from the players that aren't currently playing, is sort of perhaps Leslie Ugachukwu had a few ropey moments, Maxwell Cornet. I haven't really seen much of players. Ben Brett and Diaz, like you say, but all the players are coming out in strong favour of him. I had a couple of moments with one or two, and they're so behind him. And even when they're seeing these mistakes happening, they're not blaming the systems, or they're not looking despondent on the fact that the football they're playing. The outside eyes looking in, the football pundits are talking about Southampton being a laughing show of the Premier League, which in fairness we are, looking at the current results and the mistakes we're making. But if you're the club and you're thinking, right, I'm going to sack a manager who all of those players are behind, you've got another difficult situation, because whoever's going to come in is going to be changing a lot of things for a want of better results, with a squad base which was fully behind the system. So that's a really difficult position to be in.
I mean, do you remember when we had Ralph and all the players were saying when they join us? I'm not sure obviously how true it is, but they were like, "Oh yeah, as soon as I spoke to the gaffer, I really wanted to come." They've said that about Martin every single time. I mean, look at Flynn Downs. The only reason why he didn't go to Ipswich is because of Russell Martin, which I don't know if that's completely true, but so it's a very easy thing to say. Or loads of players coming in. Ramsdale, for example. I don't think we would have been able to get Ramsdale if it wasn't for Russell Martin. And you have to give Russell Martin credit, because he's obviously an incredible manager. But on the footballing side of things, I think good managers adapt. Personally, I don't think you can be a good manager and be one size fits all with a system. I think all good managers have had to adapt over time, and really you have to adapt with the tools you're given with. You're not going to try and put up a bloody shelf with a shovel, are you, or anything like that? No. So
we can try, but no.
You can try. Probably end up with a hole in the wall, but you need to. You really need to adapt, and I think Martin just failed to do that. And I've been very vocal in the past. I'm a big fan of Russell Martin. I mean, at the moment, maybe not, but I think last season, I think he did a really good job with what he was given in a really tough Championship with a new squad, and he had to inherit a club that was ultimately on the downfall. I'm sure it was very negative. Half the workforce got laid off. It must not have been a nice place to work. And so to turn that around and then get us up promoted this season's great. And he gave me probably the best day of my life at Wembley. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I still think of Southampton as a Premier League club. I can't see us go down and be content with that.
Right.
It just
I'll be stuck there for a
doesn't
while.
work for me. And I feel, but the person I feel the worst for in this entire situation is Dragan Solak, because he's seen millions and millions of pounds pissed up the wall by whoever at Sport Republic, whoever the decision makers are, whether that's Rasmus, although he's doing really well, Gustepe at the moment, whether that's Henrik. And I feel bad for him out of all of them. I would not like to see all my money pissed up on Paul Onuachu and Cameron Sulemana.
Hey, calm down, pal. Leave Paul out of this. You know he's coming in clutch.
Paul's been brilliant this season in the 30 minutes he's played.
Oh, class 30 minutes though. You can't say they won't class 30 minutes.
Good.
You can run. We can finally find out you're in. I mean, while we're talking about players, does any of this? I mean, like you said earlier, it's a terrible time to sack a manager going into the Christmas run. Does anything get fixed in January? I mean, can you see anything? I mean, with players, because I don't see anyone rushing in to put a bid on the table of Kalmadin Sulemana. I think it'll be difficult with Maxwell Cornet's loan deal, because they've got to find another club who's going to want him. Otherwise, they say, well, you can keep him for the rest of the season. So there's all those kind of complications. But do you see the January transfer window coming and things being able to be done that will work with Russell Martin? So, it's throwing good money after bad, isn't it? It's where we're at the moment.
So Sport Republic will look at last year and see we spent 40, 50 million, however much it was, on... Well, yeah, I mean, I might even throw Charlie Alcaraz in this and say 60, 65 million. And look at all three of those signings. Have they helped us over the mid to long term? No. Charlie, sure, did things in the Premier League, but I didn't think he was crap in the Championship. He was rubbish, right? He was terrible.
It's a liability,
and Mateus Fernandez is 100% a much better player. So you could say Charlie Alcaraz was a failure. You could say that, or ultimately a failure. You could say that Paul Onuachu was ultimately a failure. He is at the moment.
Wow,
he is a failure at the moment until he starts scoring goals. Jack, he's still.
He did, mate. He scored loads of goals last season. Granted, they went for us.
Granted, he's getting his hairline done, sure, but and then you got Cameron, who's just shit. I've given Cameron too many chances. I think he's crap. I can't believe we turned down £30 million for Cameron Sulemana last summer, by the way, from Everton.
Oh yeah,
that's the first I've heard of this. This is
that came out like one of the last days of the window, because Everton wanted a winger. I can't remember who they ended up signing, but they put like 25, 30 mil on the table or something like that. But yeah, anyway, it's just they'll look at that window and they'll think, okay, well, we spent £65 million, none of the signings worked, and then we went down and we struggled financially to get new signings in. Due to that fact that we've pissed off all this money. So were they going to look at that and just kind of succumb to relegation? Maybe. As I said, I think the only way really that we do move in the market is if Cornet and Ugochukwu leave. I can't believe Ugochukwu has been a failure, by the way. This kid's been starting for Rennes since he was like 16. He's actually a really good player. Well, he was for Chelsea last season, when he played, and he was really good for Rennes. But for us, I can't believe it's not worked. I thought when he signed on deadline day, I think it was, on loan, I couldn't believe it. I thought this is like Downs will struggle to get into the team. I can't believe how poor he's been.
Yeah, he looks lost though. Whenever he's played in a system, it just kind of like he loses the ball and then he's despondent and then sort of jogs and So whether or not he's just trying to learn the system, but it's
I don't know. Are we going to be active? I don't know. I mean, didn't Martin say that we're going to have people helping us? I mean, I don't even know if I was a footballer, because let's be honest, we're not going to sign from like the top of the Premier League. Like we signed David Brooks on loan in January last year because he was at Bournemouth and struggling for game time. Honestly, I don't know who we could get in that would actually improve us. It's really hard. I mean, for me, I think it's depressing as a fan base that we're going through this again, but it's worse somehow. And we're going to end up in, Championship, sure, is fun for a bit, but not if you're in there every year. I mean, I don't care what Leeds fans say. If they're happy to be in the Championship for 2 seasons, then brilliant. They can be in the Championship for as long as they like. But for me, I think Saints are a Premier League club. I mean, we're 11th in the all-time Premier League table. We were in Europe in 2016. Why can't we get back there? And for an ownership group that talks an awful lot about being a top 10 Premier League club, they sure as hell don't have a clue how to get there. And if this goes wrong again, which it looks like it is, I would not be opposed to Sport Republic putting us up back for sale. but they are going to get nowhere near their original investment.
Yeah.
And that is the damning part. We could easily get stuck with them. But I think commercially, the club's in a better place than it ever has been. That's one thing I will say. I think there's, the fan zones are brilliant. I'm sure the Dell is going to be great, the pub that they're opening up on Sunday. But one thing I will say is that it's an absolute disgrace that they're charging £30 for a quarterfinal. That stadium is going to be empty. Yeah. That will have
tickets still available.
20,000, I reckon.
I don't know what can I say. I forgot about that game until this morning, and I thought, oh, for God's sake.
I'm not going. Honestly, I'm not paying. I'm not paying like a good chunk for a season ticket, and then being charged £30 on top. I'm just not bothered by that at all. I think
I would hate to pay that much money and then have to go and sit by the away end because somebody thought it'd be funny.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Cheers, Mike. Cheers, brother.
But the away end, let's be honest, the away end is going to be all around the ground because the only people who's going to be interested. I mean, yes, you need to have purchase history to buy a ticket, but they normally find a way, don't they?
I think they'll end up giving, because in the Carabao quarterfinals, don't they get additional capacity? So I reckon Liverpool
they had all the back end, didn't they? Yeah,
so they're going to get like maybe 6,000, maybe 6,000.
Well, the ticket prices for the Swansea FA Cup game. I mean, that's, if you're not a season ticket holder, that's £25, which
that's
Swansea FA Cup.
So Brentford have just released this thing this season where the freezing season ticket prices, I think, for the next year or two. They're also allowing kids or juniors, anyone under 18 can go to Brentford for under £10. I mean, why aren't we doing stuff like this? I want to see, the club really, really try and fill up the stadium, because, when we're crap, the stadium doesn't get filled, and then that's going to be, commercially, they're just going to be losing money on that. Yeah. I do actually think the Northern Wall's been good this season, but they just haven't had that much to cheer about.
It's waiting, isn't it? Every game, it's waiting. I'm like, if it goes, it's going to be so good in front of them. And the Everton game, it was class that being down the side, but they're just not being given it.
When Mateus Fernandes scored the goal to put us 2-1 up against Liverpool, pretty lively then, like that. Also, right after the light show against Chelsea, actually, to hear the Northern Wall singing "They Were the Saints" was overpowering the music they were playing. So
when I saw clips of the laser show, that is when I realised I'm glad I didn't go to this game. I was like, oh, it's over then, is it? All right, good. Before we kicked off, good.
I drove because of the trains. So for me, it's to every home game. It's about an hour and a half drive. So I drove hour and a half after work for the Chelsea game. And I got there and we went 1-0 down. I was thinking, like, why am I here? I dragged my girlfriend down as well. I thought, why am I here? 1-0, you're like, oh yeah, brilliant, this is great. And then from there, I was just sat there at 4-1. I'm just thinking, why the fuck have I bothered again?
That's it. That's it. That was me at the Liverpool game. I was just sat back in my seat going, what's the point? What's the point of us spending our hard-earned money, taking our time out, like, of our normal everyday life, spending time with people that we love, to watch this nonsense, to watch people actively give goals away?
Well, I couldn't believe it against Villa when. Were you guys at Villa?
No, we missed that.
So at the end, basically, they came over. And fair play to Martin, he came over and clapped. There was people clapping, like, fine. There was people booing at the front, fine. But then you had, like, obviously, I don't condone this in any way, but you had guys at the front who were, telling the players where they can get off, right? Really? And then Ryan Manning turns around and tells one of them to F off. It all happened, and it's just like, it's so sad, because this is a group of players which last season I fell in love with. And I don't understand why we keep putting ourselves in positions where there's going to be a fracture between the squad and the fan base. It's just so frustrating. I turned around to my girlfriend. My girlfriend and her family all live in Aston. Okay, so they're all massive Villa fans. Okay, I turned around to them and I said, "Why can't Saints ever be half decent? Like, I'm not even looking for us to be, top 6. I'm not looking for us to be even top 10. I said, why can't Saints just be half decent? Give me a couple wins." 12th place, whatever. Like, why can't it just work? Why do we always have to do it the hardest way?
Give a good game as well. It's rough. I mean, I remember the last time we were at Villa and they won 1-0. We did nothing. And here we
Not
are
a shot on
again.
target,
They
no.
won 1-0. We did nothing. Not a shot on target. It's
Never
just
seen a score at Villa Park. And then I have to go back to her house. We're getting a takeaway, and I've got a little cousins calling me everything and taking the mic and all that. It's just like sometimes you have to stop yourself.
it's character building, Rob. It's
Yeah,
character building.
definitely. But
We've got so much character. Saints fans are full of character.
that's what I mean. It's just nuts, isn't it? I like, why can't we just have it easy for once? It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. They give us a faint glimmer of hope. It's so true. They do. And like we go 1-0 against Chelsea. You think, okay, 20 minutes has been really, really good.
Yeah,
And
low scoring.
But do you know what?
And then Lumley bloody decides to go walkies, and it's just like
that's the thing. This is how you know that it's really bad. Let's say under Ralph, even when it was bad, you might win a game or two, and you think, all right, well, it might turn around here. With this season, it's not even a game or two; it's 15 minutes in a game. You think, we might do so, and then that, and it's gone. And that's every week. Every week, there's like you don't get that glimmer of going home because you've not gotten anything out of it. It's like 15 minutes. Like, why can't you play for that for the rest of the game? It literally, that's how the season started. 10 minutes against Newcastle, wicked. Rest of it shocking, and that's in every single game. 10 minutes of like pretty good. That never mind.
Well, Jack, the weird thing is this team does know how to get results. They do know how to win games. They went 25 games. The majority of the squad went 25 games and beaten. And I know it's the Championship, but there's still things which do translate between Championship and Premier League. Like your mental attitude, for example. The players are obviously so low on confidence right now. And they're in a system where it really exposes that. If you're not confident and you're not 100% sure in terms of what you're doing, and you don't commit to it 100%, you're going to get punished. And I do feel like with some of the players in the team, they're not 100% confident in what they're doing. And a lot of the players come out and they back the manager, they back the style of play, which is fine. They can do that. But I don't know if they really truly know that they are 100% committed. We're given
they don't back themselves.
Yeah,
that's it. They could back the system, but if you can't back yourself, and that Rob, you're absolutely right, and that's what just drives me mental. Like you think of the mistakes from the back that we've had. Well, maybe if you went a few games not putting them under pressure like that, maybe you don't put all that pressure on them for a few games. Maybe they'll stop making a few mistakes because suddenly they don't have the ball 90% of the time, so you're not getting that many mistakes. It's just absolutely mad. And I thought he'd be better than this. I thought after last season, those little tweaks that we made during the run, that just to try to adapt and make sure we kept hold of things. There was times in there you think, okay, he's smart enough to adapt this team. And this season, it's just like, I've got a contract, bollocks to you lot. This is how we're playing, for better or worse. And if you told me at the start of the season we're going to go down, but Russ is still going to say, I'd be like, well, we finished 18th and we've just missed out. We've had an all right season. We were battling with it. I'd understand it. But we're going to finish worse than Derby. If he stays there, it's going to happen.
We are projected 12 points.
And that's just like taking away the Wembley Trophy.
Yeah, it is.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you don't stay up regardless, it kind of makes it a bit null and void anyway. But doing it so poorly, you didn't earn that. You might as well give it. You might as well have given it to Leeds and let Leeds go because you've not deserved it. And that's the saddest thing.
I mean, going back to the whole Martin conversation, I think I'm still really torn because if you look at Luton. So Luton have gone down with a very similar squad to the one that got them promoted. They still got Adebayo, who scored 10 Premier League goals last year, and some of our fans were saying we should go out and buy Adebayo. He's crap, and they're in the relegation zone, close to the relegation zone, and they stuck with Rob Edwards when they got relegated. Obviously, I don't think that will happen to Saints because we're better than that. I think I'd hope so anyway, but it just does make you kind of wonder, the what ifs. What if we don't act now? And that will all be going through Henrik Kraft, Phil Parsons, Dragan Solak's, Rasmus Ankerson's head right now. And I wouldn't want to make a call on it. I think I'm very central on the situation. I do think it is right for him to leave, but only at the correct time. And I wouldn't sack him if it meant that the club was then in a difficult financial situation because of that. Because let's face it, how many points are we adrift now? 8 points adrift. 8 points.
I think 11 points is the.
I know there's still a long way to go, but I don't see us clawing that back with the quality of the Premier League at the moment. So I wouldn't want to put the club in financial risk going down next season, or this season rather, to play in the Championship next season, to sack Martin, and then get someone in who potentially doesn't do the job either, and then we have to sack them again, like we'd have to do with Nathan Jones and Ruben Sellers, because that really ruined us. I mean, we're still paying Ralph. Oh no, we're not, because he's at Wolfsburg. But at one point, we were paying all 3 managers and Russell Martin's contract. So,
wow.
yeah.
I think he was still playing Ralph. Oh my word! But now he's at Wolfsburg, as you say.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing very well. Fair play to him. He's doing very well at Wolfsburg.
I don't like looking at it, to be honest. It hurts.
You do, it does. I mean, I always think that we should have sacked him in the summer, because I don't think.
Yeah.
Because Ralph, I don't want to talk about Ralph, but anyway, I think Ralph was a good guy. I don't think he was actually a great manager towards the end.
Do you think they might try something stupid like they did with Ralph? Remember they sacked all of Ralph's coaching staff and just replaced the entire coaching staff and went, that'll sort it?
They did do that because I think Ralph wanted new ones. I don't know. I can't remember if he wanted new ones or not.
Do you remember that was the whole thing?
Yeah, they were like, well, we'll give him new coaching staff, see if that changes the situation. And then it just didn't work. Are they going to do that? No, because Martin's too loyal to his staff. I mean, I still can't believe we don't have a set piece specialist, and it's it's Christmas. I can't actually believe that. I mean, that is just. No. Wasn't it? Didn't we go like 6 games on the trot or something of conceding from set pieces or something stupid?
Yeah.
And I can't believe the club haven't replaced Andreas Georgeson.
It's just that once again, mate, it's just giving away stuff, just shooting ourselves in the foot for a pointless reason. A hole that we know needs filling, but for no other reason than because we don't want to look at it.
Yeah,
when it's not being filled.
Opinion. Like you say, if you make the change and you're still going to end up in the same position you were now, then what's the point of doing that and spending 20 million and have the pleasure of doing it? Like you say, if you're not going to have an actual plan to do it, then just sacking Russell Martin doesn't change anything until we've got the other sort out.
And I think that the longer that they stick with Martin, and if the results don't change, the more and more people will start to resent Sport Republic. Yeah. And as I said, that will hurt them the most, because they need to be able to work on this multi-club model. Because I'm not going to lie to you, people talk about Giuseppe at the moment, fine, but that is the model that it's working. You can see it working because the players we've given them are helping them to where they are in the Super League right now. It is working, but it will take time for it to be reflected with Saints, and they don't have time on their side post relegation. Again, if it's a double if we get relegated this season twice under their ownership, then fans will just not have it. And I would feel bad, because I think they've got right ideas. I've met Henrik Kraft many times, and he does talk sense. And I when you talk to him, but it all has to be taken with a pinch of salt. And I've got no doubt that when January rolls along, and we have another fans forum, because we will, they told me that they'll do 2 a year. That it will be like it was 2 years ago. It will just be toxic. Then we'll see how that goes. But there you go.
It'd be pretty spicy indeed. But yeah, no, certainly with the model. I mean, my worry is the ownership of the club as well, because you could hardly look at the Giles reign of Southampton Football Club as a glory days, can you? Because he was spending no money. And then we're, in a situation. Oh, comes around all saying we're in desperate need of a striker that can put goals away. Well, here we are again and again and again. But the fact that if Sports Republic sells this club, that doesn't necessarily mean the new owner is going to be the right owner. I mean, that will be particularly a worry it's certainly a worry for me in terms of what goes forward.
I think with Sport Republic, when they're trying to do a multi-club model, so they have Valencia and they have Giuseppe and Southampton on the books, right? If they sell Southampton, which is supposed to be the crown jewel with our academy and all the staff we have there and the brilliant work that they do, then they're stuck with Giuseppe and Valencia, which means then they need to go out and buy another club. With all the money they've put into Saints, and then they've probably taken a loss on Saints, and they won't be able to turn a profit here with the amount of money that they've spent. And they'll probably be selling the club at a loss. They're not going to be able to go out and afford to buy a top championship or a Premier League team. So then their multi-club model kind of breaks down a bit, unless they want to make a Super League team the crown jewel, which isn't great, really. Let's be honest, for any multi-club model. So I think not only selling Saints is difficult for them taking a loss, but they would be admitting that their entire thing is an absolute failure, and they won't have a big club with amazing training facilities and an amazing youth academy to be able to help them grow organically. So I think the issue goes a lot deeper than just Saints, for them anyway. But as I said, I would not, in the short term right now, I would not want to be one of the decision makers at Saints, because I don't know. I'm quite opinionated. I have absolutely no idea which way to go, because it is just literally flipping a coin. If it works and you gamble and we somehow miraculously stay up, and we would have to spend in January as well in order to do that, then fantastic, fair play to you. And then you've got to think about staying up again next season. Or if we go down, you have to make sure that we either get the right man in to get us promoted again, or you have to invest in the squad, or try and keep the players we have, which shouldn't be much of a problem, to be honest with you.
It's tough. That gamble does feel like a roulette wheel, which you've basically got one number on. You're just putting everything on, but it would be a gamble. But Rob, thank you so much for joining. Really do appreciate it. I know the chat section's been going absolutely crazy. There's been a couple of comments of people saying, when's the Spaces coming back? Do you have anything planned coming up?
They need to return, mate. I'm sorry. I've just been so busy at the moment. It's hard getting an evening free, but no, I will get them back up and go. Maybe after Christmas we'll get one sorted, I'm sure. Because people have been messaging me, like they want to mention their opinion. I said Twitter is an open space. You can put your opinions out there, but I will get them back. I promise. I just need time to try and sort that out. But no, thank you very much for having me on, chaps. It's always a pleasure, and I'll see you on Sunday for a free pint, hopefully on Sport Republic some money.
Let's hope so. And we're going to get a booking for the table, so we don't end up paying for that. But Rob, thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. And we'll catch you soon, man. Cheers, fella.
Good to see you, man.